You had come into contact with that motor vehicle, that there was an individual still inside of it, a deceased individual?
Correct. Alicia Andrews is the only woman in the crew accused of killing Julio Foolio, and she's facing life for murder. Yet she started laughing in court when they showed videos of Foolio's lifeless body. What she said next froze the entire room, and people online are already saying payback is in motion. The courtroom was silent as they played surveillance footage on the big screen, showing over 100 shots fired in a Tampa hotel parking lot in the early hours of the morning. The victim, 26-year-old Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio, whose real name was Charles Andrew Jones II, was celebrating what would become his final birthday. While prosecutors explained the brutal ambush that took his life and showed the videos of his body, something unbelievably disrespectful was happening at the defense table that set the entire internet off. Alicia Andrews, a 22-year-old woman with no gang ties or street background, sat beside her lawyer, not with her head down or showing any remorse, but laughing, smiling, and even putting on lipstick and powder like she was getting ready for a photo shoot instead of facing a possible life sentence for first-degree murder. Footage recorded on October 22, 2025, during the first day of her trial in Hillsborough County Court, went viral across social media, with hip-hop blogs like Daily Loud and Kledge Kids posts pulling hundreds of thousands of views. Comment sections exploded, with people calling her cold, disrespectful, and heartless while they played evidence of how a young man was killed. So, who is Alicia Andrews? And how did someone with zero connection to Jacksonville's deadly gang world end up a key suspect in one of Florida's most infamous rap murders? And why would she be laughing while the state described a violent attack that left Foolio dead and 3 others shot? To understand it, we have to go back to the beginning, to a world where rap lyrics are treated like warnings, where social media posts can get you killed, and where a young woman's relationship with the wrong guy allegedly pulled her into a plot that authorities say was planned with precise timing on June 22, 2024, the day Julio Foolio posted his birthday plans on Instagram.
Hey, the pool party start today at 5, 6 o'clock. If you already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party start at 5, 6.
Prosecutors say that one post basically acted like a GPS tracker for his enemies, giving them his exact location. The 6-year-old rapper, who had already survived several attempts on his life, was out in Tampa, celebrating far from his Jacksonville roots, where a violent gang feud between his 6-block crew and rival sets ATK and 1,200 had been raging for nearly a decade. This wasn't just a regular street beef, it was a full-on war that had taken more than 30 lives since the early 2010 seconds, made even worse by diss tracks and social media where rappers mocked their dead rivals, bragged about shootings, and turned real murders into online entertainment. That night, Foolio started his birthday celebration at Teaser's Strip Club around 9 p.m., then headed over to Truth 18 nightclub on Bush Boulevard for the late-night after-party. He was going live on social media, posting his location, surrounded by his close friends, and enjoying the night.
And my birthday, man. Everybody talking about the sale. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Deep as hell. We deep as hell, 20 deep.
About 200 miles away in Jacksonville, 5 people had already set a full operation in motion, a plan that had been prepared for days using surveillance cars, modified guns with brass catchers to avoid leaving shell casings, and ski masks bought specifically for the hit. Prosecutors say Alicia Andrews wasn't doing anything for a gang. Born around the 9th of February 2003, she had zero street background, no criminal history, and nothing that suggested she moved in the same world as Jacksonville's gang scene. Her only connection came through a relationship, since she was dating Isaiah Chance, a 1-year-old confirmed member of the ATK and 1,200 crews, the same groups beefing heavily with Foolio's side. Cell phone records and surveillance footage later showed Andrews and Chance driving a silver Chevy Cruze on a 200-mile trip from Jacksonville to Tampa on June 22nd, acting as spotters and tracking Foolio's every move the entire night. They followed him from an Airbnb that kicked out his crew for having too many people to the strip club and then to the after party, passing real-time updates to the shooters riding in a second car, a black Chevy Impala, Messages pulled from Andrews' phone showed her asking about booking an Airbnb in Tampa, which prosecutors argued proved she helped coordinate the entire setup, while license plate readers confirmed both cars traveled down I-75 together with no stops, heading straight toward their target. But Andrews' defense team told a completely different story, claiming she thought the Tampa trip was just a romantic getaway with her on and off boyfriend as they tried to fix their relationship, which they described as abusive. Her lawyers, Leif Malcolm and Jeremy McClyman, tried to introduce evidence of domestic violence to show she was a victim being manipulated into going along without knowing a murder was planned, but Judge Michelle Cisco shut that down in August 2024, ruling she didn't qualify for a duress defense under Florida law, which requires proof of an immediate threat and no chance to escape, and the court decided she was indeed involved.
Andrews, these are her co-conspirators. Rashad Murphy, Davion Murphy, Sean Gaithright is her boyfriend at the time, Isaiah Chance. These were the 5.
This major ruling basically wiped out one of Andrews' strongest legal strategies and forced her defense to claim she didn't know anything about the hit, arguing that she was simply present and not an active part of the plan. After Foolio's crew got kicked out of their original Airbnb for having too many people, his entourage headed to the Home 2 Suites by Hilton on McKinley Drive near the USF campus around 4:30 a.m. On June 23rd, Foolio was in the passenger seat of a Dodge Charger driven by his friend Xavier Edwards, with another close friend, Gino Norris, sitting in the back. 2 more cars full of his people pulled up beside them under the hotel's covered entrance. What happened next was captured on several cameras, including a Tesla's Sentry mode that recorded everything from multiple angles. In their opening statement, prosecutors described the scene as nothing short of demonic.
Had been hatched between them with every single one of their collective evil intentions directed into one common purpose, one common goal: the premeditated murder of Charles.
The silver cruise with Chance driving and Andrews in the passenger seat made a slow pass by the hotel, doing a U-turn and circling back, and prosecutors say this move was key because it showed Andrews and Chance were giving the shooters final confirmation of Foolio's exact location. Moments later, 3 masked gunmen jumped out of the black Impala, 1 8-year-old Sean Gaithright, 3 0-year-old Rashad Murphy, and 2 7-year-old Dave Murphy dressed in all black with their faces covered by ski masks and balaclavas. They opened fire with what prosecutors called a vortex of high-powered rifle shots, unleashing more than 100 rounds from rifles chambered in 5.56 and 300 blackout, along with a Glock 19 switched to full auto.
Rapidly into their pre-planned positions, into their firing locations. And then they immediately unleashed
The rifles had been fitted with black mesh brass catchers to trap the shell casings and avoid leaving evidence behind, which is why only 31 9mm shells from the Glock were found despite the massive wave of gunfire that shredded the Charger's hood, windshield, and doors like Swiss cheese. Foolio was hit multiple times, with bullets tearing through his heart, lungs, aorta, liver, and muscles. Xavier Edwards tried desperately to drive them out of the kill zone, steering the shot-up Charger along the side of the hotel, but the damage was too severe. Edwards was hit, Gino Norris caught a round in his upper right arm, and in a nearby Nissan Altima, Camilla Bentley was struck in the upper arm when bullets tore through the back window. The whole attack lasted only seconds, a perfectly coordinated, military-style ambush that left Foolio dead at 26 and 3 others wounded. Foolio's girlfriend Armani Turner and the rest of his crew ran into the hotel lobby in complete panic, leaving blood trails up to the 3rd floor as they tried to find a safe place to hide. After the shooting, the suspects split up with calculated precision, with the black Impala getting driven to Polk County where Gaithright hid it at a family member's house, while Andrews, Chance, and Rashad Murphy ordered a 3-hour Uber back to Jacksonville, a 28-mile ride that cost $187. But maybe the most disrespectful part came next around 1 p.m. On June 23rd, just hours after Foolio was killed, when messages started popping up from phones tied to the suspects. From Gaithright's device came text said to be from one of the Murphy brothers saying, "I'm coming home, my thirst is quenched." Pop a bottle of Don Julio today, a clear mockery using both Don Julio tequila and Foolio's rap name to celebrate the hit. Gathright even posted a picture of himself drinking Don Julio, adding more proof, prosecutors say, of how cold-blooded the plan was and how little remorse the gang members had after taking a young man's life. As for Alicia Andrews, she allegedly got rid of her phone 2.5 days after the murder, a move prosecutors claim shows she knew she was guilty and wanted to erase evidence of her communication with the other suspects. To understand why Julio Foolio was targeted and why Alicia Andrews now sits in a courtroom facing a life sentence, you have to look at one of America's deadliest and most documented gang wars, a conflict that has torn through Jacksonville, Florida for more than a decade and left behind dozens of bodies, devastated families, and viral diss tracks. The feud between Foolio's 6-block gang, also called KTA or Kill Them All, and the rival ATK, Ace's Top Killers, and 1,200 crews goes back to at least 2017, though the roots stretch deeper into Jacksonville's complicated gang scene.